I am so glad you guys joined us tonight. This is a case that I th- I think you remember about a case we did back in June in Montana. Um, it was a really interesting case, uh, Sarah, Sarah, but this also happened in Montana, and there's still a lot of mystery. We've got an arrest, but there's still a lot of mystery, you guys, and I can't wait to see what you think. And this is about Selena Not Afraid, a 16-year-old, um, I have to say, Doc, boy, we're behind, if you know what I mean, because I can hear myself.
You can hear
So,
yourself now?
yeah. Greetings to my truth seekers and my justice warriors. I'm the storyteller in the wilderness of injustice, and my ride or die Doc is riding shotgun as we navigate the darkness where the predators hunt and the system fails. Right, Doc?
You're hearing a delay, babe, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Can you
Um,
stop?
Let me try and fix this on the way.
Okay. Well, we're ready to shine a light on the forgotten stories that society really wants us to leave buried. Okay. Yes. So buckle up. The path ahead grows bumpy as we lead you through another section of this nightmare they call the justice system. But before we get started tonight, we want to give a shout out to a very special young man. He's an honorary Fire Chief Chris, who is a true warrior. He's fighting a cancer battle. We know he can win it. So, hey there, Chief Chris. Look at you go. You're stronger than you'll ever know. With a heart so big and a smile so bright, you're ready to put up the greatest fight. Your courage inspires us every day, Chief. We're thinking of you and sending all of our strength your way. Let's see. Yeah, it's Julie, the sound that I'm hearing is it's this echo that's coming back at me, so Doc's trying to work on it. You guys shouldn't hear it, but it's what I'm hearing in my earbud, which
Okay.
I hate.
Did you, did you actually mute the
Oh,
feed
maybe.
from YouTube?
Yay. See, sometimes it's the little things, Doc. You're on top of it, and thank you.
Is it normal now?
It's normal now.
Okay.
And
All right.
and Krusty, you're right. Chief Chris is gonna be the biggest badass out there, and we're all rooting for him here. All the trial junkies, the truth seekers, and the justice warriors. We got your six, so you can count on us. So
Yeah.
Julie and she's joined us recently. I think I said hello to everybody else. I hope. So let's get started on this because I want to tell you about Selena. Um, she's really an incredible girl. Right now, my pictures aren't working, but hey, we'll go with it. This is going to highlight the ongoing crisis of the missing, murdered, and Indigenous women in America. Selena Not Afraid was 16 years old, and she disappeared on New Year's Day,
They should be working now.
January 1st, 2020. This sparked a movement whose family's relentless fight for justice led to charges being filed after 5 years later. But we're going to be questioning, did they get everyone? But before we get into what happened to Selena, we need to understand the tragic backdrop. Oh, there's my little Chris. There's my Chief Chris. We did a shout out for him because he is a courageous fire chief that's going to battle a health issue, and we're here for him. So my pictures were a little behind, and I'm sorry about that. But if we didn't have some kind of mess up, you guys wouldn't know it was us. Hey, therapist, good to see you, honey. Justice Jane, glad you could join us. We're in for a beautiful story here that I'm going to tell you about this gorgeous young lady, 16, okay? The Not Afraid family has endured an almost unimaginable series of tragedies, you guys, that would test any family's strength. Selena Shelley Faye Not Afraid was born on June 18th of 2003, along with her twin sister Zoey. She's a member of both the Crow and the Nakota tribes. She was a junior at Hardin High School, and by all accounts, a typical teenager who loved basketball, volleyball, horses, and spending time with her friends. Hey, Kerrville, thanks for coming in. She wanted to become an Indian relay rider, and this is an extreme equestrian sport. Teams compete in bareback racing, changing horses mid-race. She had goals and dreams, you guys. Just a beautiful, beautiful person. But her life was short. But before we get to what happened to Selena, we're going to talk about what happened in 2014. When Selena was just 11 years old, her twin sister Zoey self-deleted herself. And there's a picture of Zoey in the purple and the two together. 11 years old. Zoey was described as a sweet, silly, fun-loving girl who was in 6th grade at the Riverside Middle School. Now, their father, Leroy Not Afraid, claimed that school bullying was what led to Zoey doing this. Now, the school investigated and they said there was absolutely no signs of bullying. So, whose word do we take? I don't know. But the tragedy doesn't end there, you guys. In November of 2017, Selena's 23-year-old brother, Preston David Bell, was killed by police officers after a pursuit across Billings. That's him with Selena on the field. I think they were, at some special function. But Preston was shot by officers 74 times in just 6 seconds. Hey, only fan. Glad you're here with us, my vampire friend. The 5 officers involved were placed on leave, but later reinstated, and a coroner's jury found the shooting justified. They shot him 74 times in just 6 seconds. That was Selena's older brother. Then in July 2018, Selena's older sister, Tristen Gray, was struck and killed in a hit and run while walking along Highway 3 in Billings. According to the family, they met with the county attorney, and after piecing together this hit and run, no one was ever charged because the person who hit her allegedly feared for his life. So a dude in a 4,000 to 8,000 pound car was afraid of this little woman walking. He was a fear of his life. Yeah, don't think so. So this is what this family has already survived. And at this time, it's her and her brother, RJ. So Selena has already buried 3 siblings at 16. Her brother, RJ, would later say, I always felt like there was this bad presence against us. I've expected the worst. And that's sad. I couldn't find a picture of RJ, but he's got our sympathies. December 31st of 2019 started as what should have been a great night for Selena. She's invited to a New Year's Eve party and she was excited. She was going to go to Billings, and it's about close to 48 miles away. They live in Hardin, Montana. And she was invited by 20-year-old Deandra Pittman. Now, according to the court documents, Pittman invited Selena with the intention of consuming alcohol at the party. Stop and think. A 20-year-old is inviting a 16-year-old girl, and you wonder what are your motives here? You wanna get her drinking? I mean, you don't go to the same school together. You're 20, she's 16 and lives almost 50 miles away.
That doesn't take too much thought.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Fowla. Don't cry. I know that this is a touching story. It really is. But here's the things get interesting. Deandra Pittman, her father, Dennis Pittman, served on the Billings City Council and was Yellowstone County Commissioner at the time. Money talks. This detail became important later when we talk about charges that finally get filed against Pittman. Now, the party continued into New Year's Day, and so Selena had slept over, but at some point, Pittman claims she passed out, and when she woke up, Selena was gone. Okay. Now, what happens next is Robert Alvin Morning-Bromley III on January 1st of 2020 was giving quite a few people a ride from Billings back to Hardin in a van. Now, according to the charging documents that got filed this last December of 2024 against Robert, the passengers included Selena, and she's referred to as minor doe in the court documents, an adult woman referred to as adult doe, and three other individuals as WO, SO, and SN. Now, the other woman was Arlena, because I'm going to say that chick's name. And she's the one that actually she gets out of the van with Selena because what happens is Morning Bromley told the investigators his van's having trouble. Hey, Matt, glad you joined us. And Sarah's here. Yay. So the van was having mechanical issues. It breaks down with a water pump. So they pull over to that, rest stop area that's actually closed, but he kind of went around the barrier to pull in to see what he could do with his vehicle, right? And he gets the vehicle to start again. And the crucial detail is that he said that both Selena and this other woman who had supposedly been drinking black velvet whiskey on the road trip back home. Now the rest of them in this vehicle are adults. They have a 16-year-old minor sitting there and they're letting her drink whiskey supposedly. Okay. And he said they were highly intoxicated. Well, when they reached the rest stop for him to work on his car right there in Bighorn County outside the Crow Indian Reservation, he says once he got it working, he told them to get in the van. Now, he made a decision that ultimately was going to lead to felony charges 5 years later. According to the court document, once he got the engine running and he told them to get in and they didn't follow his instructions, they were both intoxicated. This rest area is closed. Neither was dressed appropriately for the weather. Arlena, the adult woman, didn't even have shoes on. And the temperature outside is about 50 degrees. We're talking Montana, but it's 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Okay, that's important. 2 p.m. in the afternoon. So he makes the choice to drive away and leave them. Now, he didn't just drive off and forget about them at that time. He called his mother, who was traveling the same route about 15 minutes behind him, and asked her to pick up these two women at the rest stop. But when his mother arrived, she only found the adult woman, Arlena, sitting in a ditch with no shoes on by herself. And she said that Alina had run into the field south of the rest area, across the fence and toward the hills. Okay. So Bromley's mom honks the horn. She receives no response. She left and later told her son what happened. Hey, Nurse Joy, glad you joined us, sweetie. He claimed he didn't know who the girls were, calling them little witches with a B who wouldn't get in. And this is the really damning part, you guys. He never bothered contacting the police or any other authorities to report that Selena had been left at the rest stop. There's no record of him calling or reporting to law enforcement that she was missing. He just leaves her. When Selena realizes her family that she wasn't in this vehicle that she was supposed to be in, they immediately raised the alarm and called the police. This is a picture of her mom, and her mom went out there. And it's been said in Facebook that her mother got out there maybe at 3:30. She got left at 2 p.m. Her mother got out there around 3:30. Okay, hour and a half. She couldn't find her. She's out there screaming for her daughter. She can't find her. And what followed was one of the most extensive searches efforts that ever happened in Bighorn County had ever seen, you guys. They pulled out the big guns. They had horses, ATVs. They had drones with heat signature. They eventually got the FBI involved. BLM department got involved. I mean, everybody got involved in this search. So Selena's mother, Jackie Big Hair, actually slept in her car at the rest stop, you guys, because, she couldn't leave with her daughter being out there. Waking up every few hours, starting her engine just so she could keep a watch. Her aunt, Cheryl Horn, became the family's advocate, organizing searches, using social media to rally support. Horn was on site 24 hours a day during the search. She's describing how, they're just in agony. She said, Lord, please let us find her. Lord, please don't let me find her. Because she said it was contradictory. You wanted to find her, but then you were scared to find her if it wasn't good. Now, like I said, we have the FBI, we have the county sheriff's deputies from South Dakota. We have officers from South Dakota and Wyoming get involved in this. Everybody. And numerous volunteers. They used helicopters, like I said, the thermal drones. They went on horseback. The family paid out of their pocket for volunteers and supplies. Searchers came from other reservations in other states to help. The community at the rest stop became a scene of prayer, protest with a campfire, red ribbons tied to fences, and posters of Selena everywhere. For 20 agonizing days, this search goes on. Then on January 20th of 2020, the federal trackers from the U.S. Department of Interior conducted a systematic grid search and found Selena's body about 1.5 miles from the rest stop, frozen to the ground in a field. Now, this is where you kind of wonder. She was only 1.5 miles away. Her mother got there in about 1.5 hours, and Selena never answered her mom. Question to think about. And the autopsy conducted by Montana's chief medical examiner, Dr. Robert Kurtzman, determined she died of hypothermia. He said there were no broken bones, no bullet wounds, no evidence of violence to her body. The manner of death was ruled accidental. Selena's family has never accepted that conclusion. If you go on Facebook, the people in that community do not accept that conclusion. Her aunt, Cheryl Horn, has consistently claimed that Selena's body was moved to that location where it was found. Horn said she has eyewitnesses who have walked through that exact area multiple times during the search, she was not there. Horn really believes whatever happened to Selena, she was brought back after we left on day 13. And if you see the photos, you see where they laid flowers was where they found her. The photo where you see the flags, that's where Selena's body and some of her belongings were. So because these people were out there, like I said, they had drones that had the heat, thermal drones to pick up a heat signature. They had dogs. They had ATVs. Um, they had horses. People walked. One of the women said, "Our girls don't die from hypothermia. They don't die from exposure. They don't lose their lives, the natural causes. They die from neglect, from the system that failed them, and from the societies that don't value our lives." The family suspicions weren't unfounded. There are several troubling aspects to how this was handled. First, in Bighorn County Sheriff Lawrence Big Hair quickly ruled out foul play after Selena's body was found. But the county attorney, Jay Harris, who is himself a member of the Crow tribe, he immediately pushed back. In a press release, Harris demanded all evidence from the sheriff's office, stated that his office had not made any ruling on whether her death had foul play. He wrote, "The public should rest assured that any provable state criminal activity surrounding the circumstances of the disappearance of Selena Not Afraid will be brought to accountability in a timely fashion." That's a laugh. There were also reports of conflicting statements from the occupants of the van, all of whom were intoxicated. The investigation revealed inconsistencies in their stories about what happened that night. Arlena, the girl that was in the van that got left behind also, she actually, her very last picture on her social media, she took a video of one of the guys named Wade Crow, and he was fighting with Selena before they got in the van because he had stolen her hat. And so there was a video that I think was either on Snapchat, that showed this disagreement. Now, this is an adult man messing with a 16-year-old girl. The same day that this happened, that she got left behind, Arlena deleted every bit of her social media. She moved in the middle of the night and just kind of disappeared. Two of the other guys that were in the van also supposedly moved to North Dakota from Montana. They left. They went out of state. So that's interesting. This picture shows where Selena's body was, that there was a paw print. And everybody said they didn't have dogs with them that day when they found her. So they don't understand why there was a paw print right next to her. That was another one of those, okay, interesting question. There were others that said never was there any animals around, no birds, because she was there supposedly for 3 weeks and nothing happened to her. And truthfully, the weather had been nice for Montana. It had been in the 50s a lot during the day. So you would think there would be some decomposition that could bring animals, but there
But they
wasn't.
said they found her and she was frozen to the ground.
Yes.
Wow.
So there are questions that just don't make sense. Selena was the Emily Pike of her day. That's why we tell these stories. We don't want any more Selenas. We don't want any more Emily Pikes. These girls deserve to be able to go to a party and be able to come home. She wasn't that far from home. It wasn't that long of a ride. Selena's case brought national attention to the missing and murdered Indigenous women, you know, group because especially in Bighorn country, local activists had counted 27 Native women who had gone missing in recent memory in Bighorn County alone. Selena became the 28th. The statistics at that time in 2019 that there were 5,590 Indigenous women who were reported missing to the FBI's National Crime Information Center. While Indigenous people make up only 6 to 6.5% of Montana's population, they accounted for 30.6% of missing persons cases. And to be honest with you, a lot of them don't even get put into a database. They don't get reported. That was the thing where we were working on Sarah Isabel Martinez down in Fort Worth. She wasn't entered into any databases until we started our emails. Now she's listed in the missing children's and exploited, national database. So see, we can make a difference as a group. But Bighorn County has the highest rate of missing and murdered Native Americans in Montana, among the highest nationwide. The area contains both the Crow and a Northern Cheyenne reservations, and it's been described as a place where killers get away with it, according to Cheryl Horn. Almost a year after Selena's death on December 23rd of 2020, the first charges were filed in connection to the case, and that was against that 20-year-old Deandra Pittman, who had invited Selena to a New Year's Eve party. She was charged with endangering the welfare of a child, a misdemeanor. The timing of these charges is significant because the statute of limitations would have expired on December 31st, so they cut it to the wire. She was charged on the 23rd, and on the 31st, they wouldn't have been able to. So, that's just sad. She entered a guilty plea in July of 2021 and was sentenced to a 6-month suspended jail term and misdemeanor probation. That's it. But we all know her daddy, Dennis Pittman, served on the Billings City Council and was Yellowstone County Commissioner when these charges got filed. Yay. But the family knew this wasn't the end of the story. Those are just the minor charges that didn't address the core issue. What happened to Selena at that rest stop? For the next several years, this case just stagnated. The Montana Department of Justice assigned 2 agents from the Department of Criminal Investigations to look into Selena's death in August 2020, but progress appeared slow. The family, they kept the fight for justice going, not just for Selena, but the other missing and murdered Indigenous women. Cheryl Horn became deeply involved in the MMIW movement and served as the Montana Missing Indigenous Person Task Force for Fort Belknap Indian Community. And I'm probably not saying that right, and I apologize. The case was featured in the Showtime docuseries Murder in the Bighorn, which brought renewed attention to Selena's story and the broader crisis in the region. I think it's on Hulu and Paramount. So if you get a chance, it's called Murder in Bighorn, and they go over 3 cases. We've covered Sarah's case, and we're covering Selena's, but they'll have even more detail. So if you get a chance, look it up. Almost exactly 5 years after Selena was last seen alive, on December 31st of 2024, the charges that the family had been waiting for finally got filed against Robert Alvin Morning-Bromley III. He's charged with 2 felony counts of criminal endangerment in Bighorn County District Court. The charges allege that his actions created a substantial risk of death or serious bodily injury to both Selena and Arlena by leaving them at the rest stop under those conditions. Each felony count carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison and a $50,000 fine, meaning Morning-Bromley could face up to 20 years behind bars if convicted on both counts. Now, the timing, it does kind of seem symbolic here. Charges filed on the anniversary of when Selena was last seen. with Morning-Bromley scheduled to, I think he had his first court date in January 21st of 2025, and that's the day after the 5th anniversary of when Selena was found. We don't know when the trial date's coming. I'm worried that they may end up doing a plea, you know? So, who is the man that's facing these charges? Robert Alvin Bromley III was in his 20s at the time of her death. He'd been in trouble with the law before. In July 2023, he was booked in Bighorn County for strangulation of a partner, family member, also a felony charge with a bond set at $25,000. So he's a really good, upstanding citizen,
Real nice guy.
isn't he? Yeah, I'd invite him to a party, not. This prior charge for domestic violence adds another layer to the case, showing a pattern of alleged dangerous behavior toward others, particularly those in vulnerable positions. Now, here the story takes kind of a complicated turn. And this is a little weird because while researching this, I discovered a potential family connection that adds another layer of complexity to an already tragic story. Selena's father, Leroy Not Afraid, appears to be a family there appears to be a family relationship between Leroy Not Afraid and Robert Alvin Morning-Bromley III. Though the exact nature of the relationship isn't entirely clear from the available documents. What we do know about Leroy Not Afraid, he paints a troubling picture himself because here are pictures of Selena's service. There were over 1,000 people that attended. Hey, Pammy, glad you made it, honey. They took her in a wagon with horses because she loved horses. They had one group from South Dakota that they had a running team and they ran all the way to make it to the service in her honor. But to go back to Leroy Not Afraid, when he separated from Selena's mom, Jackie Big Hair, he gained custody of Selena following her twin sister's death of self-deletion in 2014. Now, according to the Showtime documentary, the family didn't see Selena for 12 to 18 months while her father had custody of her. Now, that's kind of odd. In 2018, when Selena was 14, she came forward with allegations of sexual assault that her father had 4 times. A restraining order was taken out against Leroy. He vehemently denied it. He requested polygraph tests for both himself and Selena to prove his innocence. The family reached a settlement where Leroy agreed not to even try and see Selena until she turned 18, which meant he had no contact with her from the summer of 2018 until her death in January 2020. So that's interesting. Leroy was also removed as a chief judge of the Crow Tribal Court in a 12-3 vote amid allegations that he had mishandled the court's finances. I love that they got rid of him because of finances and not because his daughter made allegations against him. I'm just saying.
It sounds appropriate for what was going on at the time.
Yeah. I mean, that is something I have noticed in some of the groups. That is a picture of her father that I have noticed is they do have some issues with child predators up there, and they have an issue with people cutting off family members that are predators. I'm sorry, if you're a child predator, we're no longer family. That's just how it is. We're done. You're done. Don't come around. Don't show your face. Bye bye. That's just the way it should be because, they're terrible. They're terrible, terrible people. But ironically, shortly after Selena's death, here comes another thing. Leroy was named undersheriff of Bighorn County, Montana. He recused himself from any investigation into his daughter's death due to the obvious conflicts of interest and has maintained that position to this day, if we believe him. Um, I have questions. He has one daughter that self deletes at 11 years old. He has another daughter that comes out at 14 saying, Daddy did things to me. He was the chief judge. Now he is an under sheriff, and he's saying he had nothing to do with the case. I don't know.
So did
I
he?
have,
And did he? I don't understand that. I mean, how can you not be interested in your own daughter's case? I mean, I can understand the recusing himself for from leading the force or whatever to do that, but I don't know as though you could ever not be interested in what the outcome of the investigation is. I mean,
yeah.
and you'd follow it very, very closely.
Well, I think, is he putting his nose in where it doesn't belong? We
Mm,
don't know because from our story that we did back for case Sarah, this department is crooked. I'm
yeah.
sorry. I'm just going to come out and say it.
Uh,
They don't do their job. They don't care about these young girls and women. You know? It's just it is so wrong. This is a picture of Cheryl Horn, her aunt. When the charges against Morning-Bromley were announced, Selena's aunt Cheryl Horn expressed a mixture of relief and determination. She said it's a big sigh of relief. It's been a long and emotional 5 years and is a chapter we're ready to close. But Horn made it clear that she wants the case to go to trial because she says, I want this to go to trial. I want to hear the whole story. Only fan, you're right. If you're too nonchalant or too eager in the investigation, it's a red flag. I agree.
yep.
To me, it's also a red flag if you're saying I have nothing to do with it. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah.
That
That would be nonchalant. I mean, it's just,
yeah,
I'd be if he's going to back away, that should be a red flag.
yep. Only fans right. So like her aunt said, I want to hear the whole story. They have not said anything this whole time, and we're ready to listen. Horn believes that while Morning-Bromley's actions may not have been malicious, he should be held accountable. He didn't have to leave them. He admitted he left them. He didn't call the police. He just left them out there on the frozen tundra. He needs to be held accountable. Terrell Eldon, one of Selena's closest friends who spent 20 days searching for her, said the charges provide some comfort. Any charge is something for the family to say, hey, something was wrong and an injustice was done. There's still a lot of people, though, that don't think enough is being done because they just do not think that the girl just laid down and froze to death and that, nobody knew where she was because they swear that people went over that spot where she was located. This is Bighorn County Attorney Janine Torsky, who filed the charges and emphasized the importance of pursuing justice in this case. She said, growing up in Bighorn County, I've seen classmates go missing. I've heard friends and family talk about the missing, and I don't want them to be forgotten. Torsky has been praised by the family for her willingness to take on the difficult cases and pursue justice for missing and murdered Indigenous women. But these charges represent a significant development in the fight for justice for missing and murdered Indigenous women. For too long, cases like Selena were closed prematurely or received insufficient investigation. And we saw that the county sheriff tried to do that with her case. He said after they found her that it didn't look like foul play, and the county prosecutor jumped in. So it looks like they were going to pass the buck on this one. And if you remember from Sarah's case, this county has a big habit of a lot of these young women always die from alcohol and hypothermia. Those are the 2 go-tos that they click. So, it makes you wonder. And the fact that the prosecutors were willing to file a felony charge 5 years after the fact sends a message that abandoning vulnerable people in life-threatening situations will have consequences, even if those consequences come years later. As Cheryl Horn put it, "I hope this encourages other families to keep pushing, to never give up hope. There can still be justice." Now, the charges against him highlight the importance of decisions we make in critical moments. He chose to drive away from 2 intoxicated women in freezing weather, knowing they were not dressed for the conditions allegedly created the circumstances that led to Selena's death. I mean, and the fact that if Selena was as intoxicated as they say, you left a minor out there. She shouldn't have been drinking and you were allowing her to drink in your vehicle? I don't know why they didn't throw that at you too. Just saying. But Selena's case has become a symbol in the fight against the epidemic of missing and murdered Indigenous women. Her story helped spark, growth in the MMIW movement and brought national attention to the crisis in Bighorn, kind of like Emily Pikes is doing now. But that's the problem is we don't want it to bring growth. We want it to continue. We want people to, and that's why every Thursday we do stories about the missing, murdered Indigenous women, girls, boys, men, anybody in the family, because this needs to stop. At least, Ken, you're right. At least the prosecutors were willing to do something. You know, They're not the ones that investigate the case. That's the police, and if the police aren't investigating anything else, at least they came up with a solution to at least hold this man accountable for leaving those 2 women, and so, in effect, for Selena's death. This case demonstrates the power of family advocacy. This is her mom and her Aunt Cheryl, and without Cheryl Horn's relentless pursuit of justice, without Jackie Big Hair's determination to keep searching, without the family's refusal to let Selena be forgotten, it's unlikely charges would have ever been filed. Horn, who continues her work with the Montana Missing Indigenous Persons Task Force, put it best: "We only waited 20 days to find our Sal." That's what she called her. Some families wait decades, some never get closure. So just because we found Selena doesn't mean it's over. We can't forget the girls behind her, the ones who are still missing. Keep saying their names. As this podcast is being recorded, we're going to wait and see when the trial starts for Robert Alvin Morning-Bromley III. The family deserves answers. The legal process is just beginning, and it remains to be seen how he will plead to these charges. What we do know is Selena's family is going to be watching closely, along with advocates for every missing, murdered Indigenous woman across the country, because at least this has the potential to set important precedents about accountability and justice in these tragic circumstances. Because he took responsibility for her when he let her get in the van, regardless if he said he didn't know who she was, which I find hard to believe when it turns out that he's related to her father. That was interesting.
Doesn't make too much sense.
No. I mean, somebody's lying in this whole thing. And I think myself, I think there is more to the story. I kind of worry that something did happen to her. You know, we will probably never know. At least they're getting some, you know, something. Maybe not enough, but something. But the story of Selena Not Afraid is ultimately about more than that one tragic death. It's about a family that has refused to give up, about a community that has come together in crisis. I mean, look at how many tribes came from different states. These people dropped everything to come help. That's the way we all should be when we have community. We're seeing it up in Texas here with the floods, people that were coming to offer help, to see what they could do. That's community. That's what we're building, community. For those of you that don't know, we opened up tonight because with our dear little honorary fire chief, Chris, because he's fighting cancer. Uh, Krusty has put an email address in our Discord server so we can send videos or good, messages to him. So please come on into the Discord server. If the girls get a chance, pop those Discord servers in. I'm sorry, girls, I forgot to put it in my note to you. But hey, I almost made it on time. I was only like 2 minutes late. So hey, yay. So don't laugh, dog. But so, if you get a chance, come join our server because we're there about community, seeing what we can do to help. And it's going to be an ongoing fight for the justice for Indigenous women and girls. And Selena is, you know, 16 years old when she died. She should have had decades to heal from the tragedies she had already marked. She'd already buried 3 of her siblings at 16. So she wanted to build a family, become a relay, racer. Yes, Krusty, I agree. Nobody does it like HEB. They are community. So instead, she became another statistic in a crisis that's gone on far too long, you guys. Her story shows us that change is possible. Families can fight back against indifference and systematic failures. Prosecutors can be held accountable to pursue the justice, even when it's difficult or delayed, just like that prosecutor. She stood up and said, I'm going to take this on. Communities can demand better for their most vulnerable family members. As we wait the trial of Robert Alvin Morning-Bromley III, we remember Selena Not Afraid, not just as a victim, but as the young woman whose life mattered, whose death sparked a movement, and whose family's love and determination may finally bring the justice she deserves. The fight for missing and murdered Indigenous women continues. Selena's story will be part of that fight for years to come. But before we close out today's episode, just take a moment to remember ones who haven't come home. In Bighorn County alone, there are dozens of missing Indigenous women whose families deserve to be told and get answers. Sarah Starr Oldhorn, known as Sarah Starr Wilkinson, has been missing since December 10th, 2022. She's one of 47 Indigenous women listed. Henny Scott, just 14 years old, was found dead 2 weeks after she went missing in December of 2018. Bonnie Three Irons, a mother of 6, whose body was found in the mountains in April of 2017. Sarah Stops Pretty Places. We did her story, 18 years old, found dead in a suburban backyard, steps from a busy road. Her case still unsolved. These aren't just statistics, you guys. These are daughters, mothers, sisters, aunts. Each one deserves justice. Each one deserves to be remembered. And now let me quick go over Larea Provincial, Rapid City, South Dakota. She's been missing since June 26th of 25. Thank you, Ken. Thank you. That means a lot. Larea is 15. She's Native American, brown hair, brown eyes, 5'6", 145 pounds. Last seen wearing a black shirt, jeans, shorts, white and Nike Air shoes. Call Rapid City PD 605-394-4131. And also our next one is Regina Allen. She is from Tacoma, Washington. She went missing July 2nd, 2025, 16 years old. Regina is a 16-year-old girl that was last seen on July 2nd walking at 9 p.m. on the Tacoma Parkway area. If you have information, get in contact with the Pierce County Sheriff's Office, 1-253-287-4455. Thanks, PME. Families are waiting, hearts are hoping. Let's be the reason someone gets to go home. Her NamUs number is M as in Michael, P as in Paul, 68550. Now here's one. This one is an older one. Papia Madeline Red Hair. She was 27 when she disappeared. She would be 32 now. She disappeared March 27th of 2020, the same year we lost Selena. 1000 Clement Street Southwest in Albuquerque, New Mexico was where she was last seen with her boyfriend named Nicholas K., also known as Nick Real, on March 27th, 2020. The boyfriend is unaware of what happened to her and he's not cooperating. Get real, Nick. Get real. Tell us what you know.
Also known as Has Me Concerned.
Yeah. She's 5'1", 141 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes, beautiful young girl. You know, shoulder length black hair, 2 beauty marks on her chin, tattoos, one on her right arm with a dragon, one on her left arm with a dinosaur. On her left leg, she has a moon with a lightning strike, koi fish on her left forearm, and a butterfly on an unknown shoulder, and also red hair on somewhere. So she was wearing a black shirt and black shoes. Albuquerque Police Department, 505-768-2020. Agency number 2000032487. Christopher Enyart, Enyart is the detective. Hey, Simi Sharp, thanks for joining us. Now, the next one is actually, whoops, I went the wrong way. This young man is 33 years old. His name is Levitt L.J. Moore. And I put him in here because LJ is missing and he's legally blind and disabled and has been missing from Sacramento, California since June 28th, you guys. He's 5'6", 140 pounds, blind, legally blind and disabled. He was last seen at 12:30 a.m. at the Aisle 1 gas station located at 3200 Arena Boulevard, North Natomas, a familiar place where he actually worked and he visited there regularly on a routine. Surveillance footage shows him inside the store that night wearing a green polo shirt, black shorts with a white stripe, and black shoes. He has a noticeable burn or a large bandage on his left leg. Now, there were rumors that someone had tried to get him in a white vehicle, but the police said they reviewed the footage and have ruled that out. So I don't know. But his family has reported him missing, and there's been no bank activity, no phone calls, and no sightings, and they're worried. Sacramento police say they're actively investigating, so please call 916-808-5471. This is a disabled young man that needs help. He could be in really bad danger. And so the story of Selena Not Afraid reminds us that every life has value. Every disappearance demands investigation, and every family deserves answers, you guys. Her Aunt Cheryl continues to fight not just for Selena, but for all the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. As we await the trial, we're going to pay attention. We're going to hopefully hear something good, because remember, every killer relies on your silence. Don't be why we share another story on this channel. If you know something, speak up, because it wasn't a mannequin. It never is. Until next time, you guys, stay informed, stay compassionate, seek justice. I love you all. Come join us on our Discord server where you can hang out. You know, we post John and Jane Does and different things. Let's see what we can do, people. And I will see you Sunday. If you have a suggestion, drop us a line. We love to dig into whatever stories you guys think are important. So ciao. See you.